My entitled fiance thinks that it is unfair that I spend more money on my daughter and expects me to give everything to her because she is my future wife. So, I gave her nothing. My daughter's Nintendo Switch completely stopped working earlier this week. She got it the month it was released and has kept it in good condition for over 6 years. Yesterday, she had her conference cross-country meet, where she both PR'd and qualified to run the state. I took her out to eat to celebrate her achievements and then bought her a new Nintendo Switch with a game she picked out. My fiancée came back from her parents earlier today and saw my daughter playing with her Switch. She asked me about it after my daughter left with her boyfriend, and I told her that I wanted to celebrate her accomplishments in her running career, so I got her a new Switch as a gift. My fiancée then got angry and told me that if I was going to buy my daughter something, I had to be fair and buy her kids something too. I pointed out that I also buy her kids gifts when they reach their goals and achievements. She told me it's unfair that I spend more on my daughter than on her kids because I make a lot more than she does. My fiancée then got angrier and accused me of not liking her kids because of the different financial treatment between her kids and my kid. She called her kids down and told them what we were arguing about. I told them my side. She left with her 2 sons, but her daughter stayed with me at the house because she was on my side. I got a bunch of texts from her family calling me a selfish a-hole for treating her kids differently when buying gifts. My daughter and fiancé don't interact much. They're both polite to each other, but they simply don't talk much aside from small talk, and my daughter asks her some questions about cooking food. I have mentioned to my daughter before that if my fiancé ever were to mistreat her, she needs to tell me, and I will always have her back no matter what. To my knowledge, my fiancé doesn't mistreat her at all. They just don't talk much. My relationship with her sons is, unfortunately, minimal. I try to talk to them about their favorite topics or hobbies, and they either ignore me or shut the conversation down as soon as possible. I don't talk to them much, other than when they ask me for advice on things like school, friends, etc. My relationship with her older daughter is very good. I'd like to think we are close. As for my daughter, she doesn't talk to her stepbrothers much, but she's extremely close to her older sister. Update, she came back at noon alone. She said she left the boys at her parents' place because she doesn't, in her words, want them in the presence of a man who won't provide for them. I sat her down and talked to her about many things, and many of you were right, this is not the woman I want to marry. When I first mentioned that she doesn't bring anything to the table when I pay for everything, she didn't want to discuss it and kept dodging the subject. I brought up how unfair it was of her to expect me to provide for her and her children when she doesn't do anything for my daughter and the bare minimum for me. She doesn't do house chores, pay bills, and spend minimal time with me and my daughter. Fiancé didn't say anything. Then I talked about the financial and emotional abuse. She freaked the fuck out. She started yelling about how it was my job as the man to provide for her and her kids when I make so much more than her, and they have no father figure. I'm all they had, and she kept bringing that up as an excuse for her behavior towards my money and how I spent it on my daughter. When I asked her what she expected me to do about my will or a prenup, she told me that any good husband would put his wife above everyone else. She had been banking on me, giving her everything I had for over a year. I don't like yelling at all, but I was at my breaking point with her, and we often yelled at each other. It's not my finest moment, and I'm ashamed, but I realized that I let so much happen, and my daughter suffered. I told her about her neglect towards my child, and I will not tolerate it any longer. She is my #1 priority over everyone else and always will be. I don't think my fiancé believed me when I said that, but she realized I was serious when I told her to start packing. I'm done being in at the moment for that lady, and it's crazy to think how strangers on an app made me realize how I was stuck in such a toxic, manipulative, and abusive relationship with her. I hope my, now ex-fiancé won't be a problem anymore. I don't think I'll be with another person for a long time, but thank you for your support and kindness. Edit, my ex's daughter will be staying with me and I will financially support her through college and help her get her own place. Her and I are on good terms and I want to make sure my ex will not be using her as a token to manipulate me any further.